So what's interesting is that like I laugh with my doctors now because I was like, you all told me I was done with cancer and I was supposed to go back to the rest of the life like it was just normal. Like I'm just, because cancer, people don't realize, right? So it is a full-time job. You are at the doctor twice a week, once a week. I'm giving blood once a week. I now can't get blood out of my arms because of how much blood I've given. They have to go through my hands. And recently I had like a little test done and my hands didn't work. So I start panicking. I'm like, well, if you can't get my hands, where are we getting blood from? And so this mental health field, which is why I wanted to shout out Gilda's Club, even Northwestern and U Chicago, a lot of places have resources readily accessible for your mental health. They have actually oncology therapists that are great. My work, even in the mental health field, is about grief, loss, because it's not just about cancer, it's about what you lose from cancer. You know, when you speak about, that's why I say all the time, my documentary isn't about being inspirational, being hopeful. It's telling these untold stories that are true, that are honest. And in mental health, as a therapist, you know, even as an intern therapist, therapy doesn't work if you're not honest. And so I do think there's a lack in the mental health field when it comes to oncology work, when it comes to stress, when it comes to Black and brown people, equitable resources. I think that it is not fair that I was told, cancer's over, and I had an employer that was like, just come back to work and everything was fine. And I'm like, my life just changed. And changed to the point where like, I got social anxiety, going places. I can't go anywhere now. This is a true story. And then when you tell your story, you know, I didn't realize how many people knew me. I didn't realize like quote unquote popularity or whatever. I can't go anywhere without someone being like, I'm so proud of you, or how's cancer going, or whatever. And it's like, I just want to be normal. But what is normal? So my PTSD is about cancer, because my cancer might come back one day, but it's about like, if I go out to a social event, is someone gonna say like, you know, I'm so proud you beat cancer? I don't want to hear that all the time. So it's definitely a lack in the physical, the medicine, the medicinal part, but also like the mental health. We got to bridge that gap, which is why one of my dreams of the first Black-owned cancer center, where we are bridging that gap between cancer care and also the emotional well-being. Because someone once told me who has cancer, they were like, it's not the physical that bothers you the most, it's the mental. And I didn't realize that. I was like, you're making this crazy, girl, you crazy. She was right. Because your body is very strange, right? Your body can push through the body aches, the tiredness. Your body can push through the chemo sometimes, if it's possible, the radiation, the surgeries, your body can push through. But your mind, when you go home from the hospital, when you're driving, your mind is still there. And when cancer stopped, was when it was like whiplash. It was like, what just happened to me? And I wish that even in terms of like your employer, I wish employers supported more about like, hey, you might need a leave of absence for a little minute. In my case, that wasn't offered to me. You know, and so this gap or this lapse of mental health and cancer care or chronic illnesses in general or any type of trauma, my hope in this world, this legacy that I want to leave, is to bridge that gap, because the emotional toll on me, it is still happening. Because you got to remember, when you're a young adult cancer survivor, it affects dating, it affects your friendships, because now you envy, and I can say this with me being an intern therapist, but also being in therapy myself, I envy people with normal lives, because it's just normal for you all. Like, it's normal to go out and you're not bursting in sweat. I'm having a hot flash. It's normal for you all to date, and on the first date, the question is, do you want kids? And I'm like, Well, I can't have children unless it's surrogacy or adoption, you know. Um, if my cancer comes back, I have to think about all these different things. I think about my mom who thought about having to bury me before she passed. So when we speak about PTSD and stress, yeah, I'm traumatized. I can give this glimmer of hope that like advocacy work is also, it's not fun, because now again, you're triggered, but you're also, I want to share these stories. I want to tell my own story that's very true. It wasn't fun to have cancer. It's not fun to be a cancer survivor. It's not an easy journey because the journey never ends. My care is still every 3 months. You get an MRI for the next 5 years, I want to say. Then next 5 years, I might be in the clear after that. But I got eggs frozen in Minnesota. I'm 30 years old. I can't do certain things, limitations. I started by working out last March, and running was my favorite thing to do. I barely could walk on the treadmill. So, yeah, it's a little bit, it's a gap.